Hello and welcome back to Companions of Xanth. This is going to be a side video where I read the tome. You open the weighty Com-Pendium of Xanth. About what subject do you wish to inquire? Let's inquire about plants. Asparagus spears. These naturally occurring weapons among the longest and strongest in all of Xanth, and an unusual trait for the product of a vegetable. Okay. Blind dates. These rectangular dark fruits grow on palm trees and can be cause temporary blindness when eaten. Ouch. Blue agony moss? Rare moss grows only in damp underground caverns. It is blue in color and extremely caustic, eating through nearly anything it touches. I don't think I get that pun. Bluegrass. Number one contributing factor to depression and mental illness in Xanth. Anyone touching this terrible leaves of the grass becomes immediately and permanently deranged. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Cherry bomb tree. Cherry bomb trees produce small red cherry-shaped fruits that, when thrown, produce minor explosions. The youth of Xanth amuse themselves frequently with this indigenous pyrotechnic plant. Nice! More plants. The cobra vine. Vicious hooded vine lies in wait for passerbys to approach it. It strikes at any movement in its general vicinity. The thorns of the vine are particularly sharp. Ooh. Hopefully I don't have to deal with those. Cough drop bush. Fascinating bushes are relatively uncommon in Xanth. The bushes has two states, a dormant and an active state. In its active state, cough drops drop from the bush to the ground. The cough drops themselves cause intense coughing fits if eaten. So, opposite of our cough drops, ice cream bush. Different flavors of ice cream delicacy grows on this bush. That's good. Hominy tree. The hominy is a wholesome round tree that produces fresh grits. One need never start if a hominy tree is nearby. Good to know. Hypnogourds. The relatively common gourds look exactly like regular gourds with the exception of a tiny peephole. Looking through the hole causes the viewer's soul to enter the gourd. Gonna avoid those. Ice cream bush. Small cool bush is related to the snowball bush. The balls formed it are deliciously flavored ice cream. Interesting. So different than the ice cream bush. Industry. This bushy tree is in constant motion with a lot of activity in the branches. Alright. Ironwood trees. Very tough tree that grows straight up out of the soil and rusts easily. A mature tree can be used in iron clothing. Those probably would be very useful. It's an old hickory. Old hickory. Entry erased. Oh. Owlweed? When ingested or inhaled, the native Xanth weed causes the eyes to enlarge between 5 or 10 times their normal size, resulting in distinctive owl-shaped eyes. Cool! Wow, there's a lot of plants. The shells of the paper shell pecan are the source of the finest Xanthian paper. Because of this, the pecans themselves are an extremely valuable commodity. Good to know. Red herring bush. Dangerous shrub attracts the attention of passerbys. A large assembly of the recent victims may usually be found lying around the distinctive red bush, intent on the bush as if their lives depended upon it. I guess we better avoid those. Reverse wood. Strange wood will reverse the effects of any magic within the wood's range. There is no reverse wood available in the game. Aww. That would probably be very useful. Shoe tree. This plant is the most common source of shoes in Xanth. Various styles of shoes are available. That's useful. Oh, no, not the gourd. Shoe fly grass. Walking the strange glass is the only possible when barefoot. Any shoes making direct contact with it are forced uncontrollably aloft. Interesting. Stinging Barbara bush. This huge vicious bush smiles as if it stings its hapless victims. The poison from one stinger is enough to rob the victim's mind of any thought. A second sting is almost always fatal. So, this was written in like the 80s and 90s or so. Actually, I think the game itself was written in the 90s, so yeah. I guess, Piers Anthony didn't particularly feel good about the senior Bush family. Tangle trees. Long, adventurous roots hang from the branches of the mature tangle tree. The roots wrap around anything that strays to their path, capturing it and carrying it towards the tree's maw. We better avoid those. Wild oats. Almost impossible to harvest, the mature plant produces a wild green-haired nymph. If wild oats are planted by a young man and watered with his own urine, the nymph will be bound to him in servitude. Good to know, I guess. I've learned enough about plants for now. Let's learn about creatures. And plenty of creatures too. Bumsteer. Four-legged beasts with massive hooves and horns are renowned for giving bad advice to inquisitors. They also beg for smokes from passerby. Good to know. Centaurs. Centaurs descend from horses and have heads, arms, and chests of humans. From the withers down, they have the body and tail of horse. A human and a horse drank from a love spring and the centaur race was formed. Yeah, I guess that happens. Fillies become accustomed to being stared at by human males because of their memory development and is considerably impressive by human standards. Oh, by the way, Piers Anthony was also an incredible perv. Chocolate mousse. The rare Xanthian creature tastes delicious, if you can catch one, and is constantly pestered by ducks and other waddling birds. I could bet. Computer. The most evil machine of Xanth, Com-Puter, was created by the muses of Paranus to help in recording reality. The muses erred in the design and the machine became malevolent, securing itself with an air-conditioned cave. Puter can revise reality to its liking and should therefore be avoided at all costs. Yep, we're going to try to avoid that one. Cumulofractonimbus. King of Air is once known as Thunderhead, and puffed up the bag of air, crowned himself the king, and believes he rules all of Xanth. His stormy temper, unjustified vanity, and evil intent are renowned throughout Xanth. He is an ill wind. Demons. Demons can assume any form they please, but are solid for at least 90% of the time. Demons have hooves, hind feet, a long barbed tail, and fiery red eyes. Good to know. Elves. Elves can be recognized by their distinctive green battle dress. They live in tribes ruled by elven kings. They are especially good woodsmen and warriors and possess high intelligence. I hate elves. Fairies are by far the smallest humanoid in Xanth. They have delicate and colorful wings. They are fine craftsmen and on a small scale. Good to know. Fauns. Fauns are the male counterparts of nymphs. They are thin young males with approximately equal intelligence and memory as nymphs. Okay. Goblins. Goblins are ugly humanoids half the size of a human. They possess large hands and feet and prefer to attack a victim in numbers under an extremely unfair circumstance. They have very hard heads, making it almost impossible to injure one. Golden fleas. Incredibly beautiful fleas of a dragon, searched for by Jay's son, a misguided mundane. Golems. Standard adamant hodgepodges of string, clay, and wood can occasionally become animated and, in the case of Grundy Golem, brought to life. Although quite small, golems can be impudent and rude. Yes, they can. Very rude. Harpies. Harpies are natural enemies of goblins. They have the heads and breasts of a woman and bodies, greasy wings, and short, ugly legs of a vulture. They come from a love spring cross between a vulture and a human. Ugly and dirty, they prefer the taste of meat and will eat human entrails if at all possible. They live in filthy holes and construct things out of their own dung. Nice. Lamia. Four-legged animals have hooves and a horse's tail, a cat's forelegs, and the head of a human. Final Fantasy gets those wrong. Merfolk. Nerophons and Nerids are sea creatures of old, possessing webbed hands, swifter feet, and scales among the lower halves of their bodies. Over time, they slowly evolved, and their feet became powerful tails of the sea fish. Eventually, they developed into mermen and merwomen. Good to know. Nymphs. Nymphs are pleasure-loving, magical creatures without long-term memories or much intelligence. They quickly forget painful experience, recent deaths. They are slim and beautiful females who resemble teenage girls of great beauty. Children aren't supposed to see them up close. Yeah. I don't think we'll see many of those in this game. Ogres. Ogres stand twice as tall as the average human. They're extremely strong and able to lift almost anything. An ogre's arms are tough like gnarled woods, and their appearance hideous. Ogres like to shout and fight. Stanley Seamer. The renowned Gap Dragon was transformed Princess Ivy into her playmate. Stanley is mated to Stacy, an admirable female steamer. Both dragons should be admired from a distance. I think Piers Anthony had to clean his carpets at some point. Trolls. Trolls are generally unpleasant race who build a complex living quarters under bridges. It is customary for a troll to charge a toll for travelers over his bridge. Trolls eat all kinds of meat. Good to know. Zombies. Zombies are half-alive animated corpses brought to life by magician Jonathan during the fourth wave. They make good servants, but because their brain is rotted out, can't perform any but the simplest of tasks. Nothing can hurt a zombie because they're already dead. A zombie can only be killed by hacking it apart. I hope I don't have to do that. I'm finished with Xanth creatures for now. Magical things. The Adult Conspiracy. The conspiracy censors all information concerning the bringing of storks from the minds of Xanth children. After the age of consent, a child is inducted into the age of the conspiracy. Okay. Cottage cheese. Cottage cheese, a large, naturally occurring organism in Xanth, can be hollowed out and used as a home. Once hollowed, it hardens substantially. Good to know. Deathstone. Story is told that early days of Xanth, when magic flowed uncontrollably through the world, the Magician King turned a Deathstone to cast a deadly shield around the peninsula that today is Xanth, preventing travel between Xanth and Mundania. Yeah. If you ever read a Xanth book, you'll notice that the world of Xanth looks, oddly enough, a lot like Florida, which explains a lot of Florida. Enchanted Paths. Enchanted Paths crisscross the surface of Xanth, magically transporting those who walk through them through mountains, underground, underwater, and all throughout the air without harm. Evil magic cannot exist on an enchanted path, so it is wise not to stray far from one. Good to know. Forget Whirl. These magical whirls are escaping remnants of powerful forget spells that cast them on the Gap Chasm. Accidentally encountering one can cause serious but only temporary memory lapses. Okay. So much stuff. Hate springs. These springs, often disguised as loves or regular water, cause the drinker to immediately hate the first being he sees after drinking. The hatred is all-encompassing, often compelling the victim to murder. Staring at one's reflection in a hate pool for too long after drinking can cause incurable self-loathing. Aww. Healing springs. Healing springs completely heal all manner of injuries except beheading. Okay, it makes sense. One should drink from such a spring only if necessary, since given healing springs may exact a steep price for its benefit. Special care must also be taken to avoid drinking accidentally from another type of spring disguised as a healing spring, like a hate spring. Heaven Sent. These are pieces of pennies that send the bearer to a place most needed. Providing that they are to be powerful teleportation devices, they must be recharged periodically. Okay. Lemon meringue pie. The insulting pastry is not at all pleasant to have around. It also has a detestable sour taste. I like lemon meringue pies, though. Love spring. Natural spring of water causes the immediate mating between any two species who drinks from it. Many of the species of Xanth are products from this mating of parents of two different species. Treat a love spring with extreme caution. So, zoophilia is perfectly acceptable in Xanth, I guess. Magic mirrors. Magic mirrors are extremely rare in Xanth. Magicians may use them for a variety of magical purposes. Magic mirror can usually successfully answer a yes/no question, and may also be used to view some distant place within Xanth. Alright. The opposite sex. The term in the definition has been completely censored by the Adult Conspiracy. Aww. Panties. The garments are the object of much confusion and speculation within Xanth. Boys younger than the age of consent are not even permitted to speculate. Older males are consumed with curiosity as to their color. Good to know. Done learning about magical stuff. Famous people. do it. Ah. Luckily, this only has two sections. Shay Centaur, Colt of Siron, and Shek Centaur, has wings like his parents, but does not possess the power to fly. He is, however, able to make things in his immediate vicinity lighter. Maybe he can make himself lighter? Good Magician Humphrey. Good Magician Humphrey lives in a castle surrounded by a moat filled with murky water. He's designated his castle in service for the answer to a question put to him by the Centaur Island elders. Or Center Isle elders. Yeah, puns. Humphrey detests socializing of any kind and has constructed his castle to repel visitors. He is able to answer difficult questions, but requires the Inquisitor to serve 1 full year in his castle. Good to know. Grundy Golem. Grundy Golem, once made from bits of string, clay, and wood, began turning into an elf when he started to care. He was finally brought into living reality by the demon Xanth when he fulfilled a difficult challenge. Grundy's talent is to understand the language of all living things. Rude and tactless, Grundy gets more than his share of trouble. Yep. King Rogna. Last king of the 4th wave, King Rogna is best known for his defense against the 5th wave, with the aid of Jonathan the Zombie Master, Magician Murphy, and the Neo-Sorceress Vadane. He was the architect of the Castle Rogna and an avid gardener. Good to know. Magician Murphy. Magician Murphy predicted the Castle Rogna would not be completed in time to repeal the 5th wave, has unique talents of making things go wrong. Magician Trent. Magician Trent, also known as Trent the Transformer, and also previously known as Evil Magician, has come to power largely through the acts of a young man named Bink. From the first novel, Spell for Chameleon. Demoness Merta. Demoness Merta is a rude demoness. She is famous for attempting to shake over Esk's cushy hidey hold. Merta takes great pleasure in tripping up unsuspecting victims who fall by fate in her proximity. Good to know. Let's learn about our companion, Nada Naga. Nada Naga is a Naga princess with the talent to change her normal Naga form into human form. She is unfortunately betrothed to Prince Dolph by the good magician Humphrey. Since Dolph is 5 years younger than her, she cannot love him. What? That's weird. What's the Storm King? Storm King, possessing the talent to control the weather, reigned near the end of the 12th wave. His talent gradually weakened until a small gust of wind was all he could muster. Poor Storm King. Finally, famous places. Let's do this. Air. Region of Air is one of the 5 forbidden regions directly south of Ogrfen inside the region. Dust storms and big winds rule. Tornadoes and cyclones create a dangerous wind that can rip the flesh from one's body. Near the border of air, winds prevail, although to a lesser degree. Earth. Alas, also one of the 5 forbidden regions, Earth is an unstable terrain, constantly quaking beneath your feet. The lava flows from the region of fire are visible from the Earth, and this area is typified by rock paths, plants, and sturdy plants of many varieties. Fire. Region of Fire is surrounded by a flaming border that can only be passed by a traveling beneath it underground. Forest fires, lakes of boiling lava, and firestorms rage here. Plants are short-lived and hardy. Makes sense. Forbidden region of Water is dominated by rain, sleet, and snow. Water in all of its forms abounds here. Dry land is nearly impossible to find. On its fringes live many men, mermaids, and tritons. And finally, the Void. The Void lies beyond the border of Earth. Nothing can be seen of the Void outside of it. Once inside it, perceptions become confused. The hapless visitors see what they wish to see. Once inside, it is nearly impossible to leave. Only by intense concentrations may one make out true images of things. Alright. One more page. The Gap. Gap, once protected by a powerful Forget spell, is now commonly known to stretch from the west to the east coast of Xanth. It is very deep and may be crossed by either 2 footpaths or 3 bridges, one of which is invisible. Yeah, that's useful. The gap is guarded by the Gap Dragon, a giant steamer with 6 legs and an appetite for fresh meat. Lake Ogerchobi. Lake Ogerchobi is the most massive lake in all of Xanth. Its shores are ancestral homes of the ogres, who eventually moved north to Ogrfen. Isle of View. Isle of View is a legendary island where a sleeping princess was supposed to wait. A monument marking the place the princess was stolen. On one shore, the island is monument to King Trent, marking the point of his landing. The monument is guarded by an Argus, Catapulus, and a Harpy. The 3 monsters are granted eternal life as long as they guard the monument. Yeah, that's a good job. Humphrey's Castle. Humphrey's Castle lies hidden in the forest to the south. Once the ancient home of the zombie masters, the castle was essentially refurbished with the aid of 100 centaurs. The castle is very difficult to penetrate, but once inside, it becomes quite inviting. Good to know. Castle Rugna. Castle Rugna is the social and magical center of Xanth during the 5th wave. It was built on a wager by King Rugna. The castle was occupied until King Groman died 400 years later. Now empty, the castle is haunted by ghosts. Various magical mirrors, tomes of wisdoms, and bottles of wine lay in the various rooms of the castle. I'm sure we don't have to go there. And finally, the gourd. Looking through the peephole of a hypnogourd, the viewer becomes involuntarily trapped within the world of the gourd until someone covers the hole. While the body lies helplessly staring into the vegetable, the viewer's soul wanders within it. And with that, that is the mighty Com-Pendium of Xanth. And when we come back, we will do more of the Companions of Xanth. Thank you very much, and have a good one.